Line art. We all know what that is, right? That whole thing where artists have a joke where they hate doing line art. Well, that's because they're doing line art wrong. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I always know what I'm doing whenever it comes to art and that I'm always correct. But one of the things that always get complimented on whenever it comes to my art is my line art. So in this video, I'm gonna do a tutorial on how I personally do line art in all my pieces. Originally, I was just gonna sit on my ass and delay this video for another 4 weeks, but not only do I need to get this video out like right now, but also the creature in my walls is growing restless, so let's get to the video then. Okay, so first things first, I left this in as it is to show my friend that I am not a machine whenever it comes to doing line art. I struggle a lot. But I also left this in to show in one key detail that I put whenever I'm doing line art, and that is line weight. Line weight is really important to good line art. And one way I incorporate line weight into my line art is that I use thicker lines whenever I'm doing line art. So I'll use thicker lines and I'll thin out the ends whenever I'm finished doing the line or making the line. See me doing here, I'm thinning out the lines as I'm going. Usually whenever I thin out lines, I try to thin out the ends of the curve, like as you can see right here, or whatever is curved, I try to thin it out right there. Another thing I do often is I overshoot my lines. And the way I do that is that I make a new layer above my original line art, and I'll make the lines as usual, and once I'm done erasing the overshooted lines, I will merge it back down with my original line art. And as you can see right here, I'm combining both of the methods. So on a new layer, I overshoot the lines, and then I thin out the edges of the curved lines to provide line weight. So I'm not sure if you guys know this, but I draw everything on my phone. So really big areas like these is really difficult for me. So what I'll do is I'll look where I want the line to end, and I'll keep my eyes focused on that, and I'll just draw the line, and it really shortens the amount of time it takes to do this, like by a lot, because you're not struggling all the time. Now, one really important thing to remember whenever you're doing line art is line confidence. So what that means is that just don't be afraid to do the line. Don't hesitate halfway through. Just shoot the line. Just shoot it. So really my rules for doing line weight and line art changes a lot. So as you can see for both of the fingers, they kind of look different whenever it comes to line weight. Like one is more thicker at the top in terms of the lines, and one is more thinner at the top in terms of lines. So really just go for what you think will look nice with the curves. So whenever it comes to lines intersecting with other lines, I try to thin out the end of the one that intersects with the thickest line, if that makes sense. If you can see what I'm doing right here. Here's a really good tip that I figured out whenever it comes to lines that come to an angle with each other. So what I'll do is that I'll draw out the center line, and then I'll just overshoot the two other lines that are meeting with each other, and I'll thin them out accordingly to make them match up. Once again, right here, you can see me doing the same thing that I did whenever I was doing Yanni's arm. So I'll thin out the line that's closest or that's intersecting with the other line. So for lines like these, it's a bit more difficult to figure out to convey exactly what I do whenever I do these type of lines, but I try to thin out the curves actually, and then I try to leave some of the curves thicker than the other ones, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, I kind of suck at explaining this. Actually, in the original drawing, whenever I was not gonna procrastinate on this video. I actually added in a patch on Yanni's outfit just to show you this hack that I figured out whenever drawing stitches. So basically you just make the line really thick and then you go into the eraser tool and you erase inside the lines. That's it. That's that easy. So back whenever I recorded this like a month ago, I forgot to also record what I do with the line art. So basically wherever the light is, I take a lighter shade of the line art color that I use, and I just highlight the lines, if that makes sense. You can see me doing it right here. And another thing I forgot to record is me adding Gaussian blur to the line art. So basically what I do is I duplicate the line art layer, then I go to filters, I choose Gaussian blur. I usually do about 10 to 11 pixels, and then once I'm done with that, I lower the opacity of the Gaussian blur line art, and that's it.